Hi everyone, welcome back to the Western Centurion channel. First, let me really apologise for it being such a long time since my last video, which was a bit of a teaser, wasn't it? Very big teaser, to be honest, about the flicker-free coach lighting. I have literally just this minute got home. I haven't got long. I've got a maximum of about 20 minutes really. So I just want to give you a brief update because I've had so much on my plate at the moment, but I do owe you all this, so I just want to go through with you what I've got up to so far. So the first thing was that the carriage that I showed in the last video is this one. Okay, and what I had done was, you can have a look, which I guess I expect all of you guessed by now that it did have a capacitor in. This is 4,700 farad capacitor at 16 volts capacity. Obviously the LED strip and a little circuit board that I made up here, which sits in this end of the carriage. Well, actually I didn't make this up, my friend Dave at work made it up, our electronics engineer. Try and get that out. Now I hope you can see we have a rectifier on there, which is made up of 4 diodes inside. And then we have, can I see it? Yes. Right on the end here we have a little surface mount resistor. That's at 3.3k. You see it's lovely and small, but quite fiddly to solder on. So what I will be doing is trying to obviously make a board this size, but with a standard resistor. I'll also make some up with these and see how difficult it is actually to do, and when I get the time I will go through on how to do them. Now the pickups, I'll show you on the bottom here. I made my own springs to go on the axles. They work quite well, but with the material I used, or with the metal I used, there's still be a bit of drag. But if you adjust the spring where it goes up through, you can release that drag and the wheels spin quite nicely. But I think the gauge of that wire is 0.45 mil, and I think it's too thick. So I bought some of this, which is copper wire, and that is 0.25, and I found that a lot better. In fact, I've got one here as an example there, and you can't feel anything on there, so I thought that was perfect. The only thing I didn't realise at the time is this wire is blinky insulated, so of course it doesn't work, does it? It doesn't pick up at all from the axle. So I haven't had time yet, but what I'll be doing is looking for some more copper wire of this thickness that isn't insulated, and I think that'll be absolutely perfect for that. That was one with the original wire I used. I still think it's quite good. It's doable, but obviously if it catches it does give a bit of drag, and that defeats the whole object, doesn't it really? The other thing I'm working on at the same time is the wheels. Now on these Bachmann coaches the wheels are insulated on both sides, but they are all metal. I had a look at what Richard did on Everyard Junction, and he's used foil, hasn't he? Takes the wheel off, and the plastic insulation inside, and he puts foil through, then puts the insulation back in the wheel, and then the wheel back on. Now I've tried that, I can't do it. I really can't. I got so frustrated with it in the end that I just said nah, I'm not going to even attempt to carry on doing that. So what I did was I got on the internet and I had a look, and I found some wire glue. I had to wait for this to actually come from Hong Kong. Now this is for using instead of solder, so I thought, yeah, the conductivity in this must be fabulous. Well, I've tried it and I tell you, it doesn't work. So I had put that, I really can't see, but you sort of basically paint it on the inside of the wheel itself and onto the axle to make sure you've got proper continuity with no break. Let it dry and it should work, but that glue didn't. So I've just brought this home today from work purposely for this video. What we have here is what I use at work for repairing track on PCBAs or circuit boards, and it's silver conductive paint. Now this was from RS, I believe, or Farnell, and it's £10 for this little bottle. If I hold it up against the wheel, you can see it's not much, can't you? But I have tried it, and that's what I did on this one, and it works perfectly. But you have to make sure it's shook up really well and stirred really well. But obviously I've got to take that back to work, so I can't use that. And then whilst looking on the internet, I found something else that people do. Graphite in a pencil. I expect some of you heard of this as well. So that's the next thing I'm going to play about with, to try and get the continuity for the wheels without actually buying the wheels, which have insulation one side but are conducted on the other. And what I'll do, I'll just show you with my meter here. If I put it onto the continuity test, right, stick one end in the top end, one probe in the top end, there we are. Now I've taken the point off, just make it easy to put this in, and I'll shove this in the other end and it should go beep. There. How cool's that, hey? I'm sure we've all got a pencil in the house, just waiting to be sharpened all the way down to the end so we can get to the graphite inside. And now what I've read, the trick of that is that you grind the graphite to a powder, a very, very fine powder, as fine as you can get it, and you mix it to glue to a certain ratio. But the trick is not only with the correct ratio, but what glue to use, because obviously you don't want a glue that's going to crack over time, because if it does, bang, you've lost the continuity between the axle and the wheel. So what I've done a bit of research, and obviously you want a flexible glue. And eBay. And what I've found is it's a bit like a super glue, which is basically a bit like rubber. It's used for gluing rubber, and it's elasticated really. So I'm going to buy some of that and try different ratio combinations and see if I can get it to work. The best thing to do really is to mix them up, and then just with a toothpick do a line on a piece of card about that long, don't have to be much, let it dry, because it only works when it's dry, and then do a continuity test on it and see what it's like, and a resistance test. But yeah, so that's the way I'm going to try and get around on the wheels. Capacitors, nightmare, so big. So I'll try to show you in here. Now there are different sort of capacitors, and obviously all at various prices, but talking to Dave at work, you've got to be very careful on what value capacitors we use. I've got a 16 volt in here, so it'll take a maximum of 16 volts. Anything over 16 volts, you've got an extremely high chance of that capacitor exploding, and that'll pretty much just take out the whole carriage, and don't want to do that. So I'm thinking we're looking at a minimum of 25 volt capacitor. Alright, unfortunately as soon as you start going up the voltage scale, the bigger the capacitors get as well. But yeah, so 25 volts minimum. I've tested the voltage that comes out of my Hornby Select, and that's hovering around anywhere between 15.7 and 15.9 volts. So close. Now the bridge rectifier I have in here, that's a surface mounted one as well, by the way. You can get ones with 4 legs which are round, lots of different types, but I got this because it's small, nice and small. Now this will reduce the voltage a bit. I'm not exactly sure how much. I think maybe 1 volt. So that could mean that coming through into there is only 15 volts, but I want to do some more tests on that just to make sure, okay, before I'm fully happy. But anyway, yeah, so the next thing I'm trying to do is find a smaller capacitor. I can't remember what these types are called. I'm sure someone will be able to tell me, but the other one I've been looking at is what they call super capacitor, which are basically about half the size of these for the same size farad. So we could get 4,700 for half the size, but the only ones I can find at the moment are only like 2.3 volts, so no good. But when I get the time, I'll carry on looking, because I'm sure with today's technology we can get them smaller. Yeah, I bought some wheels because I thought there were ones that were going to be insulated one side, conductive on the other. I was so wrong. When they turned up, they insulated on both sides. But at least when I actually come up with making my own conductive glue or paint, or be conductive glue, I can do those. But I did actually find some that are conductive on one side. And I'll give you the part number now. I haven't got my glasses, but it is R8234. I'll try and put that down in the description type. And I got these from Peter's Spares. I think they're about £7 something a pack, but they do have them in stock. Alright, Hornby didn't at the time, but great. That'll save a lot of hassle if you want to. But again, obviously it adds to the money, doesn't it? If you can use the original wheels, perfect. And the whole thing of this was trying to make it as cheap as possible. Resistors. The resistor I've got in there, as I said, was a 3.3k, and I got some 3.3k here, very cheap. You can try Maplins, try eBay. eBay's pretty cheap as well, but you might have a weight from China or Hong Kong. To do with a pencil, so I don't have to grind it down, I brought my own bag of graphite. So this is what I'll be experimenting with until I can find out exactly what the strengths are and what we need. I think that was about £4 off of eBay, free postage and packing. LEDs. I bought 2 types of LEDs really. If I remember which ones they are, is it this one? Yeah, the first lot I bought was a mistake. It was these ones. The 12 volts. They are warm white, which is obviously what we need. But they're for use outdoors, so they've got like a transparent silicone cover to them, and it's really not easy to solder to the connections when you cut them. So I had to go out, well, I had to get online and buy some more from the same company, I believe. Here they are, they're not covered, and so much easier to do the soldering on. But again, they're 12 volts, warm white. And I think these are about £4.50 for 5 metres, both of them. At the same time, they had some red ones, 5 metres, up for auction at 99p. I'll put a bid in, and one for 99p, free delivery. So 5 metres of red LEDs for 99p. Tools. I got these. I bought this at Maplin. Whilst I was buying a load of those capacitors to try, they had these just behind the counter, or in front of the counter, and it's used for mobile phones, for taking them apart. Perfect for taking coaches apart, and it was £1.99 for the whole lot. Get a pair of tweezers as well, a little suction cap This can be used for prying open things as well, and a set of little screwdrivers. But brilliant bargain. I think they've still got them. So yeah, I'm sorry it's really quick, this video. Oh, one more thing I'm really happy with. For those of you who want to start playing about electronics, you couldn't go far worse than this. Electronics Projects Starter Kit by Mallinson Electrical Company, whoever. Bought that off of eBay, $9.99 free postage and packing. The main reason I wanted to buy this, get your breadboard. A few of you will be familiar with these anyway. This is what you use for making up temporary circuits to try them and trial them out. I haven't used it yet, but you get some wire, you get a little booklet with all tests you can do, and one of them's flashing LEDs. That'll be handy for anybody who wants to make a flashing LED to go in the back of their coaches. But yeah, you get lots of little things in here. Various resistors, various capacitors, ceramic capacitors, and electrolytic capacitors, which is these, but they're small. Electrolytic, that's what these are called. I keep forgetting, too technical for me. But yeah, well worth it. And this is what I'll start doing the practicing on when I eventually get the time to try out different capacitor values to make sure they can keep it alight. Okay, so yeah, very quickly, that's it. Thank you very much for being really patient. I'll try and get something done again within the next 2-3 weeks. All depends what happens at work and what happens in family life as well. I'm still having to visit Dad quite a bit in his home, but yeah. So again, thank you very much for being patient, and thank you very much for all your lovely comments on my previous videos as well, and especially the one with the door which I put into the garage now. The double glazed door went in brilliantly. So pleased with it, and so much more light. Just going to be the French doors next I've got to do. Unfortunately, they seem to be going at double the price they were over Christmas, and I missed out then. I didn't buy them. I should have done, but I didn't, and now they're double the price. I think because of nice weather, people want them and start fitting them, but I'll keep looking. Alright, so thank you very much for watching. Obviously if you liked the video, press the like button. If you didn't, then press the dislike button, and subscribe, and hopefully on the next video about coach lighting it will all be resolved, and we will have a lot smaller circuit boards and proper flicker free lighting. Alright, so thank you very much, and see you again soon. Bye bye.